Okay, so in this video, I'm just gonna review the parts that you need to find to graph a linear function, and everything that I say in this video is going to be true also for a linear inequality. So I'll show you an example of a linear function and then a linear inequality. So when you're graphing, the first thing that you need to do is identify the slope and the y-intercept. So our slope, let me switch marker colors, is 1/2. And our y-intercept is -3, like I explained in the other video. And those are the two parts you need to graph. You need both of these to graph. So let me just draw a quick little graph on here. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is graph my y-intercept. So I start at 0 and I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3 because it's -3. And then from there, I'm going to use my slope to graph my next point. So remember, slope is rise over run. So the top number tells us how much to go up, and the bottom number tells us how much to go to the side. So we rise up 1, and we run 2. 1, 2. And then you could keep going if you wanted to. I feel like it should be a little bit more down here. Or you can just draw your line from there. And that is how you graph a linear function. So let me show you an example of a linear inequality as well. But the rules are still the same. The only thing that changes, the initial graphing is the same. The only thing that changes is the things that we went over in the notes. So like if the line is solid or dotted and where it's shaded. Okay, so let's do y is greater than 2x plus 1. So the first thing that I'm going to do, even though it's an inequality, is identify the slope. So it's a solid number, so it's actually 2/1 because there's no denominator. We know that the denominator is 1. Slope. And then our y-intercept is +1. And I'm going to show you how to graph these. So let me just draw my graph really quick. So the first thing that you always start with is the y-intercept. So I start at 0 and I'm going up 1 on the y-axis. And then I'm going to use my slope to find the next point. So we're going up 2 over 1 because it's a rise over run. So up 2 over 1. So now I have enough points to make my line, but since it's an inequality, we need to think about if it's going to be solid or if it's going to be shaded. So since we have the, I'm sorry, not solid, solid or dotted. So since we have the greater than sign, and it is not equal to, we use a dotted line. So I'm going to connect that using a dotted line. And now we have to think about our shading. Do we shade up or do we shade down? Since this is greater than, we shade up. I'm not going to shade it in all the way just to save my markers, but you get the idea. So that is how you graph both a linear function and a linear inequality. There's a lot of similarities. The differences just come when you actually start graphing.